Greetings all! Today we will be examining the relatively common ice ground type Pokemon Swinub, the Pig Pokémon, its uncommon evolution Piloswine, the Swine Pokémon, and its final rare evolution Mamoswine, the Twin Tusk Pokémon. While they might look a little odd for pigs, the members of the Swinub family are unique creatures that can more than make the coldest of lands seem like nothing to worry about for those willing to stay close to them.
Swinub have bodies that are covered in a thick, shaggy coat of light brown hair with stripes of darker brown fur running down the length of their body up to their face. They have three-toed feet hidden underneath the bottom of their shaggy forms, and they have a pair of eyes with small black pupils that are kept closed on a near constant basis to keep them from easily being frozen, their pink snout being particularly large to help them with detecting and digging up food from under the snow. The evolved form Piloswine retain their shaggy brown coat, though it has grown thicker in evolution, and their eyes are often hidden underneath it. Their hooved feet make it easier for them to travel through icy land, while the rest of their face is only readily seen as having their large snout as well as a pair of small tusks of ice. Lastly, their final evolution Mamoswine have 3 toes per foot like Swinub and show a more prominent snout than their pre-evolved forms, with a light brown patch of fur on their face around it, as well as a mask of blue and white hair around their eyes. And speaking of their eyes, they're usually open and not covered unlike their pre-evolutions, and the icy tusks have grown massive in size, giving them a very intimidating appearance. The members of the Swinub family are unique for swine in that they are specifically adapted to handle extremely cold environments, thriving there with their thick hair and powerful digging skills. While this might not translate them into being the best of special attackers to make the most of their frigid powers for the most part, they can still use the electricity dampening hair that covers them to protect them from attacks that might otherwise be a shocking threat to them.
By themselves, Swinub are relatively weak and have little in the way of physical strength in the wild. In order to increase the odds of their survival, Swinub often travel in large herds consisting of both Swinub and Piloswine.
The Piloswine in question are usually the parents of the Swinub present in a herd, and act as such in times of extreme danger, protecting the young with all of their strength. Predators are wise enough to stay away from Swinub unless they are clearly alone, as Piloswine are extremely temperamental and prone to sudden attacks when provoked. The weather rarely ever poses a threat to their survival either, as unique typing effectively renders them immune to any damage that could arise from destructive weather conditions like hail or sandstorms. These beasts are normally the only ones in their family that can survive biologically, but access to unique ancient power attack can allow Piloswine to evolve further into Mamoswine, an ancient relative that can more than prove to be an offensive threat with incredible physical power to demonstrate.
As a result of their primitive minds and adaptation to the icy cold, these creatures can have access to Oblivious and Snowcloak as base abilities, while those that are larger than normal from excess blubber built up on their frame for temperature protection can also have Thick Fat as a hidden ability.
As far as their stats go, in the case of Mamoswine, these creatures may have sturdy frames, but their actual defensive attributes and special powers are rather low in comparison to other Pokemon of their type, so their base defense, special attack, and special defense stats are all below average for a fully evolved ice and ground type Pokemon. On that same note, however, their bodies can be moved at a decent pace, and they have abundant stamina and physical strength on their side, giving them above average base HP, attack, and speed stats for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, helping to make them imposing physical juggernauts that can take a hit and deliver one with extra gusto in return when in close quarters. Swinub possess extremely sensitive noses that are able to detect the aromas of various plants and fungi from great distances even if they are buried under several feet of snow and ice. As a result of their harsh native environments, Swinub have come to rely on their noses for just about everything, oftentimes dashing off with haste at the slightest hint of an enticing aroma. This, in addition to the high rate of vicious snowstorms occurring in their native areas, has effectively rendered their eyes all but useless, though they still function as well as most eyes. If they detect food within their immediate vicinity, Swinub will use their noses as powerful digging tools to search for the source. This really presents a problem for the creatures, as the skin and cartilage of their noses is incredibly tough and strong, even against constant abrasion. While Swinub are fond of the various types of berries and grass that often lie beneath snow, they are particularly fond of a specific type of mushroom that grow under dead and decaying grass. The exact reasoning for this is unknown, but Swinub are not alone in their obsession. These particular mushrooms are often treated as delicacies in their native lands, making them just as popular among humans. As such, Swinub, either captured or wild, are often enlisted by locals to help search for these rare treats, as they will rapidly dash off towards something the moment they detect an enticing aroma. It is duly noted that Swinub also occasionally come upon hot springs while foraging, as the smell receptors in the noses are capable of picking up the faint chemical odors given off by the spring water and the surrounding rocks. For trainers that are lost, this can more often than not prove to be a true lifesaver in practice. In order to protect their large bodies even further from the cold, Piloswine develop an extremely thick, shaggy coat of hair upon evolving. While the hair proves to be an impressive barrier against the elements, it also prevents Piloswine from actually seeing anything at all. As compensation, Piloswine possess acute hearing in addition to their powerful noses. By combining the two features, Piloswine are able to effectively create a mental image of their surroundings without ever even seeing them. In the case of ice or other obstacles that cannot be readily smelled or heard, Piloswine can rely on their hooves. The rugged surfaces of the hooves, combined with the relative shortness of their legs, allows Piloswine to easily tromp across any solid surface regardless of its composition or slipperiness. Even with all these advantages, however, Piloswine are still prone to putting themselves in danger because of their short temper and sensitive hearing. If they are riled up sufficiently, Piloswine will charge at whatever is bothering them indiscriminately. Trainers should keep this in mind when confronting one of these creatures. If the hairs on a Piloswine's back stick up, it's a sure sign that it's about to charge, and tripping them up isn't easy, as while the legs are quite short, the hooves are also quite rugged as already mentioned, and prevent them from slipping on ice as already mentioned again. It is further noted that Piloswine are unique in that they possess tusks made out of ice. These tusks are strikingly organic in that they grow with Piloswine and their size is affected by gender, but their thickness and relative length are still affected by weather conditions. It is not completely known how these tusks are formed or even why they exist, but it may have something to do with the feeding patterns of Piloswine. Unlike Swinub, Piloswine cannot easily maneuver their bodies to dig through snow with their noses. As an alternative, Piloswine use their tusks to dig up mushrooms and other rare foodstuff. If the tusks are an evolutionary advantage designed to assist in digging up food, then it can be said that their combat advantage, such as allowing Piloswine to learn the Ice Fang attack immediately after evolving, the Thrash attack late in life, as well as the bizarre Ancient Power attack as they develop closer to the forms of their ancestors, are perhaps only lucky side effects.
Mamoswine populations hit their peak sometime during the last ice age when climatic conditions favored their thick hair. As time went on and global temperatures began to increase, however, these creatures began to decline in number greatly, seemingly becoming extinct. This fact was quickly reversed years ago when several herds of the species were discovered alive within Antarctica.
The first specimen discovered outside of Antarctica was found on the outskirts of the Unova region, frozen inside of a block of ice at least 10,000 years old. Unfortunately, the team that discovered it was not very careful with the specimen and accidentally allowed it to melt. Their dismay was met with extreme surprise and panic, however, when the specimen actually woke up and began destroying their campsite. Needless to say, the specimen was eventually captured and brought into captivity. Since then, a few herds of Mamoswine have been discovered within the Unova region and within a few other tundra environments across the globe. Piloswine are believed to be the genetic descendants of Mamoswine and are a distinct and separate species, but they can nonetheless utilize their own genetic codes to evolve into Mamoswine. Piloswine gained the ability to learn the mysterious Ancient Power attack shortly after evolving and respond in a strange way to its power. Once they learn the attack, it seems to be only a matter of time before they naturally evolve into Mamoswine. While the direct cause behind this transformation is not completely understood, Piloswine are not the only ones that possess this ability, as both Tangela and Yanma must also know the Ancient Power attack in order to evolve into Tangrowth and Yanmega, respectively. Besides that, there are a few key physical differences between Piloswine and Mamoswine. While Mamoswine still possess incredibly thick hair like Piloswine, their eyes are much larger and are not obscured by their hair. Furthermore, their eyes contain a unique type of organic oil that protects the soft ocular tissue from freezing or otherwise being damaged by snow or ice. Mamoswine are also much heavier than Piloswine and possess longer, sturdier legs as a consequence, which in turn heavily amplifies the destructive force of their earthquake attack. Most importantly though, Mamoswine possess much larger ice tusks than Piloswine that become longer, thicker, and more impressive looking the colder it is, a trait that allows them to learn the double hit attack immediately after evolving, and which in turn complements their resistance against nearly all types of damaging weather and impressive physical strength.
The frigid cold might be the only place where these swine live comfortably, but that does little to not make the members of the Swinub family something to take note of in any environment. You might have to get some special help to get them to a fully evolved state, but that can make it just all the more worthwhile to unleash that icy and earth-shattering power against those that oppose you.
Just do yourself a favor and try to avoid getting in their way while in the wild. They might not respond well to heat, but but aggravate them, and these beasts will gladly plow you into the ground and crush you underneath their powerful feet and frozen forms with gusto.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Titus, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.